Chapter 11, 11a, Alira. Wow, Grandfather, this is an impressive collection of texts that you have. I gazed around his study, finally able to come in and have a look. There would be a meeting of the minds tonight, and Grandfather decided I was ready to attend. I stepped closer to the enormous wall of books, skimming the names of a few. There were books from one wall to the other, covering various topics of a curious mind. I absolutely loved to read. It grew to be my passion, even as a child. There was little else to do when you were homeschooled and counted as infirm. We didn't have many books at home, but the few we did have I memorized from cover to cover. Looking at the stunning selection in Grandfather's study was like a dream come true. The floor was made of a dark charcoal marble, with flecks of quartz that made it seem as if the sky twinkled beneath your feet. Shelves of books lined the walls all the way around. A desk sat at the far end of the room, besides a large window with a cushioned bench seat in it. Next to the bench was a small furnace, already lit and emitting a comfortable heat. I gazed up at the ceiling to find the night sky depicted with the same constellations visibly known to these parts. I sensed a common theme to the room, and would no doubt find a stargazer tucked away close by the window as well. "Thank you," Grandfather remarked in his usual stern fashion, though I could see that he was pleased at my enthusiasm and proud of his collection. "The books you would be most intrigued with are on this shelf here." He patted a shelf beside where he stood and pulled out a very large, plainly bound book as I crossed over to him. The title simply read, "Plants and Herbs of Aether." Grandfather was correct. I was instantly drawn in and poring over the pages. "This is magnificent, Grandfather," I exclaimed. I crossed the room to the window, ready to dive into some reading. "We do not have time at the moment, Alira. However, you are welcome to visit the study at any time for your reading pleasures. Our group should be here any moment for the meeting." Grandfather opened a closet near the entrance, revealing a tall stack of wooden chairs. "Would you assemble these chairs in a circle around the room, please, while I gather the texts that we require this evening?" Grandfather turned back toward his desk, where a pile of heavily worn books lay. A knock came at the door, where Marin and Griella stood. "Your guests have arrived, sir," announced Griella, eagerly eyeing the room for any indication of the proceedings. It was clear that this meeting was generally held in private. Marin nudged Griella in the side, as if to say, "Stop being so transparent," but Griella only waved it off and continued to investigate the room. "Please send them back, Marin," Grandfather instructed. "Griella, could you fetch the refreshments?" "Thank you," he added, before turning back to the texts. Marin returned shortly with a group of townsfolk. Out of the 4 individuals who joined us, only one was a woman. I was very surprised to find that it was Mrs. Norfolk. I also recognized the town blacksmith, Braxton. He was a large black man, with skin of the deepest brown. He was covered in muscles from head to toe due to years of swinging his hammer. Braxton stood around average height for an adult male, and had thin, long braids tied behind his head. The sleeves were torn from his tunic, either to accommodate his large muscles or from the heat of his job, perhaps both. I would guess his age to be around mid-30s, based on looks alone. The second man, who was also familiar, appeared to be our parcelman, Artemis. He delivers all our out-of-town parcels. Artemis was a tall man, with sun-kissed skin and an average build. He wore light-colored clothing that fit loosely for ease of comfort on his long treks. He was in remarkably good shape for his age, considering his gray hairs had almost entirely swept through his thick brown hair. The last individual was a man I had never seen before. He was a scrawny fellow with strange spectacles, which contained many eyepieces on them, controlled by various levers at the side. He was very young, probably no more than 20, and had the thickest head of long black curls atop his head. His skin was a medium brown, complementing his dark eyes and hair perfectly. Mrs. Norfolk graciously brought me up to speed on the guests as they entered, revealing the last gentleman as Leonidas, the town stargazer. Though I knew a few of the guests already, I received skeptical looks from all but Mrs. Norfolk as their eyes swept over me. Griella returned with a cart full of treats and a jug of our freshly made dandelion tea. Much to her dismay, she was quickly ushered back out the door, with Grandfather barring it behind her as she left. "Now that we are assembled," Grandfather started, "let me introduce you to my granddaughter, Alira. While she may be young in years, she is quite knowledgeable in plant lore. It was her quick thinking and experience that saved her sister Paisley after an incident in the gardens with a bee. We have come to rely on her knowledge around the manor since her arrival, which has been invaluable." This was all that was needed to end the sideways looks and whispers stirring in my general direction, and I felt my skin growing hot with pride over Grandfather's words. For this evening's meeting of Cosmic Eye, I have gathered a few texts for us to pore over concerning our weather phenomena. Our brother Tidric on Solar Isle has written to us to address the readings collected all around Aether. The balance of solar and lunar power has shifted, wreaking havoc in Aether. It is our duty as people of the old ways to use our knowledge to combat this situation. We have the best minds of Aether in Cosmic Eye. We span all 7 isles and are dedicated to learning and furthering the prosperity of our world," Grandfather stated. "Do you believe this fluctuation of power is related to Tenebra going into hiding, Grandfather?" I asked. "Indeed we do, Alira. We have noticed an uptick of elemental surges occurring just after you girls arrived. That, combined with your recollection of Tenebra spiriting away your brother and going into hiding, leaves us to believe this is the cause. In the course of this investigation, it is our hope to not only locate your brother, but also to restore Tenebra to her rightful seat. Thus Aether could restore balance once more," Grandfather concluded. "Well, dears," Mrs. Norfolk chimed in, "let us get on with it." She made her way to the texts and returned to sit at my side as we pored over information about planetary disturbances and natural disasters. We compared this information to the letter from Tidric and a scroll from Grandmother about the areas of lunar activity on Lunar Isle. However, since the lunar upticks shift areas frequently, we are always a few steps behind. "Mrs. Norfolk, how will we ever catch up to Tenebra if we have nothing but dated information?" I mused. "Have faith, child," Mrs. Norfolk replied. "Once there is sufficient data on past locations and current phenomena, your grandfather will be able to send out a search party for more current intel. And please, call me Annabelle. We are all equals here, love." And so the Cosmic Eye began the search for Tenebra and Alistair, and I became the newest and youngest member of the Secret Society of Sciences.